Good day, everyone. My name is Garvin, and today I am going to discuss the working capital management. So, first, let's define and understand what is working capital. So, working capital it is a fundamental financial metric that represents the capital available for a company's day-to-day operations. So, a positive working capital indicates that a company has more current assets than current liabilities, which means it is in a better position to meet its short-term financial obligations and fund its daily operations. On the other hand, a negative working capital, where current liabilities exceed current assets, may signal financial distress and difficulty in covering short-term obligations without external financing. There are several ways on how we can effectively manage working capital, but in this report, I'll be focusing only to cash conversion cycle and the cash budget. So let's start with the cash conversion cycle. So the cash conversion cycle, it is the length of time funds are tied up in the working capital, or the length of time between paying for working capital and collecting cash from the sale of the working capital. Now, for us to get the cash conversion cycle, we have to identify and understand the purpose of the components of the cash conversion cycle. And there are number one, the inventory conversion period. The second one is the average collection period. And the last one, the payables deferral period. The inventory conversion period, it is the average time required to convert raw materials into finished goods and then to sell them. Thus, the average collection period, it is the average length of time required to convert the firm's receivables into cash. That is, to collect cash following a sale. And the last one, payables deferral period, it is the average length of time between the purchase of materials and labor and the payment of cash for them. So for us to understand how to get the cash conversion cycle, I have prepared a sample problem here where company A just started a business and they already have a business plan. So they are expecting to sell the goods and thus convert them to accounts receivable in 60 days. And it should take another 60 days to collect the receivables, making a total of 120 days, between receiving merchandise and collecting cash. However, Company A is able to defer its own payments for 40 days. So for us to compute how to get the cash conversion cycle, I have identified the given. Okay, so the first one is the IC, or the inventory conversion period, is 60 days. The average collection period is 60 days, another 60 days. And the payables deferral period is 40 days. Now, let's proceed to the next slide for us to compute the cash conversion cycle. As you can see in the screen, this is now the basic formula on how to get the cash conversion cycle. So the formula is the cash conversion cycle equals inventory conversion period add or plus the average collection period minus the payables deferral period. So since we have identified the given from the previous slide, so cash conversion cycle equals 60 days for the IC period plus the 60 days for the average collection period less or minus 40 days from the payables deferral period. So you will get 80 days as your cash conversion cycle. So what will be the interpretation for this? So meaning to say, the result is a CCC of 80 days suggests that the company takes 80 days to convert its investment adjustments in inventory and accounts receivable into cash. In the previous slides, we were able to learn how to compute the cash conversion cycle by getting the values of its components. Okay, but this time, in order for us to appreciate, we have provided I have provided some real values where we can assume that the company have already operated for how many years and experienced a lot of delays, okay, or problems that might that a company might encounter and also affect the cash conversion cycle. So in order for us to compute the IC period, we have to get number one, the inventory, the value of the inventories, and you have to divide it with the cost of goods sold per day. So let's assume that the inventory value is 250,000. You have to divide it with the value of 1,013,889 pesos, which is the cost of goods sold, and divide it to 365 days. So you will get the result is, you will get the value, or the result is 90 days, which is your inventory conversion period. So by getting this, you'll be able to know that you have 90 days to sell its merchandise. So for you to get the cash conversion cycle, you need to compute also the AC period, or what we call the average collection period. So by getting the AC period, you have to know or get the value of your receivables and divide it to sales over 365 days. Okay? So let's assume that the receivables is 300,000 pesos divided by with the value of your sales, which is 1,216,666 divided by 365 days. So you will get an AC period, or your average collection period, of 90 days. So the interpretation for this is that it takes 90 days after a sale to receive cash. And lastly, it's now the payables deferral period. So we have to compute this as well for us to get the cash conversion cycle. So how to compute? So the formula is PD period, or payables deferral period, is equals to payables divided by the cost of goods sold, which is also divided to 365 days. So assuming that your payables is 150,000 divided by 1,013,889 pesos divided by 365 days. So your PD period will be 54 days. So what does it mean? So remember, in the sample problem that we have, where the company A have their business plan and their PD period is 40 days. But this time, since we already have real values, the company A is a slow payer, because the payment is delayed until day 54. After getting all the values of the components of the cash conversion cycle, we can now compute and get our real cash conversion cycle. So the formula again is inventory conversion period plus the average collection period minus payables deferral period. So using the real values that we have computed from each components, so we can now compute our cash conversion cycle, our new cash conversion cycle value. So 90 days, which is from our IC period, plus 90 days from our AC period, minus 54 days. So our new cash conversion cycle is now 126 days. So our interpretation for this is that it takes longer than planned, which is the 80 days from the business plan, to sell merchandise. So customers don't pay fast as they should, since the actual is 126 days and it is too high. So what will be the recommendation? So the CFO should push the sales and credit personnel to speed up sales and collection. They have to speed it up. And the purchasing department should seek longer payment terms. So that's the recommendation based on the result. So for our conclusion for the topic cash conversion cycle is that, in summary, a shorter CCC or cash conversion cycle offers several advantages to businesses, including improved liquidity, reduced financing costs, enhanced profitability, competitive advantages, and the ability to manage working capital more effectively. It's a crucial metric for assessing a company's financial health and operational efficiency.